Okay, intensity. If you're healthy, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay, as simple as that, guys. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not about beasting every session, but seriously, you've got to train hard. If you're healthy, you've got to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. All right. This helps with cortisol regulation. Okay, because cortisol is a stress hormone. If you are used to training for short periods of time with high amounts of stress and then recovering, then your body is better at dealing with stress. Okay, one of the benefits of training is stress relief. Okay, and this is one of the reasons. This is how it works. Okay, because you become better at dealing with the cortisol when it's secreted into the blood. Okay. EPOC. Okay, so exercise post oxygen consumption is the reason you get results. Okay, basically, when you're training, if you're unable to use oxygen for a period of time, you have to pay that back after training. This is where you burn. This is where you get your free calories after training. Okay, you won't get that unless you get the intensity right and you go into that area whereby your intensity is so much that you can burn calories after finishing training. Okay, remember that it actually costs energy to recover. So whilst your heart rate's coming down, your body has to recover, and subsequently you'll use energy to do that. Okay, and heart rate volume. This is one of the reasons that marathon runners are, unfortunately, or people who do marathons are actually suffering from either catastrophic fatality at the end of a race, or complications after, because they haven't done the interval training, which helps them to recover from these very stressful events that they do. Okay, so interval training is actually very, very good at helping your body to recover and deal with stress. Okay, putting it into practice. Well, Bruce Lee said that knowing is not enough and we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. This information I've given you today would be great. Great that I know that, but what if I didn't give it to you or didn't share it with you, or what if I didn't actually implement it myself? What if I didn't share it with my clients on a day-to-day basis? It's not good enough. We have to, in everything we do, we have to try and, we must be willing to do it. Okay, we must apply it. In a practical situation. So Bruce Lee was spot on with this one, I think. Mind versus body. Okay, you have to change the way you think. Okay, to change the results you get and ultimately your destiny. Okay, things like Machu Picchu, things like completing challenges, which bring smiles to the face at the end. Okay, don't happen unless you change the way you think and change your beliefs around what you're trying to do. You got to try and eradicate, expel all disbelief before you start. Okay, you got to believe you can do it. Whether it's day to day with your nutrition, it's got to be that you believe you can do this, and it's not going to be yes. There are going to be times where it's going to be tough, but you can do it. You must believe you can do it. Okay. And remember that every accomplishment starts with a decision to try. Okay, no one ever achieved anything without actually deciding, right, I'm going to try this. Okay. And one of the things that we've been talking about recently in training is, and it's working actually really, really well, and I'm getting some great feedback with this, is acting as if. Okay, this is something I picked up from Martin Rooney, Olympic bobsleigh member, or USA bobsleigh member, also a massively well-respected coach throughout the world for his training systems that he uses with his professional athletes and his clientele day to day. Acting as if you're not tired. So when you're tired, acting as if you're not. Okay, when you're feeling a little bit down and things are getting to you, act as if you're not. Okay, it has a massive impact on yourself and the people around you. Okay, and when the people around you are feeling more positive because you're not dragging them down, then that creates a great environment. That's something we've managed to forge. In the Blast Fitness camps, in the FA Fitness Training Studio. We try and think about acting as if and be positive, right the way through and give it your best shot. Okay, thinking versus believing. Okay, the Niagara Falls illustration. Okay, just a quick, brief, very, very brief overview of this story, which was brought to my attention. There was a young French gentleman who, in 1859, he wanted to, show people how good he was at his trapeze, at his sort of circus skills, and he wanted to walk the Niagara Falls from the American side to the Canadian side on a zip wire. Okay, and he wanted to walk across. He wrote letters to the Niagara Falls, sort of like parish council, if you like, asking them if he could come over and do this. And obviously, to start with, they were like, "You're crazy, and what are you on about? And we get people jumping off of here all the time in barrels and dying. And why would you want to come over here and do this?" And he kept writing and asking. And eventually, when the economy moved from the east side to the west side in Canada and America, Niagara Falls actually thought, we need to get some tourism back here. So let's let this guy come over. So he went over there. They got a massive crowd over there. They had a bridge and everything. You could see this story in the New York Times actually. And he actually walked across this zip wire, and he got halfway across. And he was sort of wobbling a bit, and everyone was thinking, "Oh, this guy's never going to make it. He's crazy." And he actually got halfway across. But not only was he halfway across, he had a wheelbarrow with him. Okay, and he had a wheelbarrow with him with bricks in it. Okay, he got 3/4 of the way across. He stopped, turned away from the crowd, and everyone thought this was crazy. This guy's a goner. Okay, and he actually did a somersault, some cartwheels, and landed back on the zip wire. And then after that, he then walked across, and he just got to the edge, and he landed, and everyone just went crazy. Okay, the crowd went absolutely mental. There was everyone rushed over to him. There's reporters everywhere asking him what he was doing, and how did he do it, and everyone was really, really interested in what he was doing. After this, then there was a young reporter, sort of a journalist who was doing his apprenticeship, and he was pretty much the last guy in line. He had to wait his turn, and he said to him, how did you do that? He said, the Frenchman replied, well, I did it. He said, and then the young guy said, well, do you think you could do it again? And the Frenchman said, well, do you think I could do it again? He said, yeah, I think you could do it again. So the Frenchman said, well, do you believe I can do it again? And the Frenchman said, yeah, I believe you can do it again. Okay, he said, well, look, if you believe me, if you believe that I can do it, then jump on my back and we're going to go back across together. Okay, so this reporter's obviously thinking, oh man, what have I let myself in for here? But off they went. He jumped on his back and they walked back across. And I think that's one of the things, one of the illustrations of like the difference between, I think I can have a go at this, or believe. Do you truly believe that you can do what you want to do? Okay, this doesn't have to be exercise related. I'm just relating this to exercise. This can be in anything you want to do in life. Do you truly believe that this is what you can do it? Okay, versus thinking you can do it. All right, nice little story there. Like I say, New York Times. Check it out. Great story. Alrighty, how to win in 2012. Okay, nutritional habits. Your priority's got to be getting fresh foods. You've got to try and get it organically where possible. Okay, and get fresh fruit and veg. Okay, so every sort of 5 days you want to be restocking with fresh fruit and veg. You want to be getting your fatty acid balance right. Okay, so try to stay away from the vegetable oils you're finding processed food. So because that's too many omega-6s. We want to try and be getting omega-3s and 9s from your meats and your lean fish. Okay, your healthy oils also coming in from the fish, and also from nuts and seeds as well. Following things like the Hot to Trot plan, which I put together. It's not so much a diet, but more a lifelong pattern of eating. Okay, this is the way I want you to, or the way you should be really approaching your nutrition, whether or not you follow my nutritional plan or not. It needs to be something that you think you can do as a lifelong pattern. And if it's not, then it's probably a diet, and you're probably going to crash after 10 days if you're lucky, because there's no principles around it. So that's why I don't really like the word diet, because it sort of mentally instills the thoughts of restriction and crash course. Whatever you do, this has really got to be lifelong. You've got to try and get this into your daily life. Okay, for a longer period of time. Okay, your priority is fresh foods. 4 steps I suggest here that you can do right today to get these fresh foods. Washing your veggies and storing them in the fridge. That's number 1. Buy your foods so they last no longer than 5 days. Fresh supplies bought weekly is one way of really helping the quality. Okay, reduce your preparation time. Like you guys, we're really busy. We've got stuff that we need to do. Don't always want to be preparing veg, so why not buy it already cut up? Buy the shredded veg, buy the baby spinach leaves so they're smaller. Buy baby carrots, buy pre-cut chunks of fruit if you must, and then takes a little bit less time. Maybe make a large salad at the start of the week and seal it, portion it up, and take it throughout the week to work with you, and add whichever protein source of protein you want to with whichever carbohydrate you might also want to take with that, if it's in and around training. Training for health. Okay, whatever you do, you need to be looking at about 40 minutes to an hour, 3 to 5 times a week. Okay, whole body exercises that elevate your heart rate to stimulate your cardiovascular system. Remember what we said about the cardio earlier? It's anything that stimulates the cardiovascular system. Make sure you get the intensity right. so that you're burning calories after you finish training. Like we said about the exercise post-oxidized, exercise post-oxygen consumption, which is that little bit time after training, which can last up to 36 hours, whereby you are burning calories after you finish training, because you've gone into this situation where your body couldn't use oxygen. Recovery is the most important part of training, guys. Okay, stretch, mobilize, and be physically active. Okay, remember, physically active is not something that's necessarily structured. So it can be just a gentle walk. It can be a cycle with the kids. It can be, maybe going horse riding. It can be maybe, going for a gentle swim. A swim doesn't, nothing that's necessarily too structured. Okay, so this is how we can help you. We've got personal training at the personal training studios. We've got semi-private personal training, where you can share the sessions with a friend or with somebody else who we can partner you up with. Okay, it's a great way to train. We've got the Blast Fitness camps. We have a venue in Tavistock. We have one in Lifton, which is a mid-morning camp, and we have one in Launceston as well. Personal training at the minute, like with my personal training, I do have this is January 2012, do have a waiting list of people waiting to come in, but we're taking applications all the time because we're always looking for somebody who's really, really driven and really excited about working with us. So we do take applications, and you can find that on the contact Matt part of the personal training site, www.f for Freddy, A for Apple, -fitness.co.uk. And we'll be happy to talk with you, okay? Blast Fitness camps, like I say, we've got a few spaces left on the fitness camp that run in the mornings, and the mid-morning camp that we're running is now going really, really well in Lifton. Okay, we also have an online program which is great for that person who's maybe just a little bit further away. This can be found at blastfatloss.com, and you can find us a 30-day program, nutritional plan, all the same training systems. Just you don't get to see me and you don't get kicked up the arse personally by me, but you will in a roundabout way. Okay, and then we'll open up the floor to questions if we can. All right.